Welcome to the Burn Factory podcast with Priest and Phoenix Rivera. Listen as the boys interview the biggest names in sports and entertainment. The Burn Factory starts now.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Burn Factory podcast. I'm your host, Priest, joined by my co-host, my brother, the one and only Phoenix. Say what's up to the camera.
What's up, y'all?
This is called the Burn Factory for a reason. I was literally caught on fire. 50% chance to survive, but through that started this podcast because I believe every single person out there on this planet goes through a burn moment somewhere in their life.
You heard Priest say a burn moment. So a burn moment is a super hard time in your life that you just have to fight and overcome. And me and Priest believe that every single person on this earth go through burn moments that truly build them to who they are. But what an amazing guest we have today. Our guest today truly has lived a life full of burn moments. She defines what it means to be perseverant and resilient in the midst of trials and tribulations. And not to mention, she's a freaking badass. She is the number 10 ranked UFC Flyweight in the world and has many championship fights on her horizon.
So please give a welcome to Miss Tracy Cortez.
Oh, what an intro. Oh my God, thank you.
I try.
Thank you.
Yes.
God, that's speechless.
Bruce Buffer, where are you at?
Right?
Oh, hold up. Phoenix is coming for Bruce Buffer's spot. Did you
go.
guys hear Bruce Buffer, though, mess up in the fights this past weekend at UFC 295? In the main event, he called, he was introducing Alex Pereira. He goes, fighting out of the red corner. And he was in the blue corner. He's like, oh, fighting on the blue corner. I was like, uh-oh. I'm surprised no one picked that up.
His first ever.
That's like his first ever.
Yeah.
I hate that feeling.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
you're
I know,
embarrassed
it's
like that,
crazy.
you're like, oh no.
But he really puts like all his energy into those. Like when I see him, when I go to these fights, he's warming up, he's stretching, he's like working out his jaw, his neck. He's bouncing. I'm like, oh wow, he's really gonna give it his all.
Yeah, no, it's like he's about ready to go fight. He's
Yeah.
sitting in the back and he's stretching his legs out.
He's literally warming up.
Dang, that guy's going crazy. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's his job. He's got to go 100% at it. But Tracy, I got to ask. So we were all hanging out last night and I was playing some music. Am I the greatest DJ out there on the planet?
You have some jams. You have some.
You guys hear that?
I was taken back all the way from like El Flaco Pesado to Katy Perry.
I know. Come on.
It was. You had some bangers, yeah.
Good. That's good. I'll take that and put it on my resume. Wait,
Yeah.
Phoenix, I need a resume. You know how you did with Tracy? I need one of those.
I should give you a resume the next
Yes.
time?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Please do.
Well,
I want to feel it. I want to feel it.
He wants to feel the love. But all right, Tracy. So on this podcast, we do use the acronym BURN. So each letter is kind of a different time in your life. So starting with B is beginning. So take us to the beginning of your life. Were there some burn moments that you had to overcome that you could share with us?
Like the beginning was so beautiful. I had the most incredible childhood. Grew up with 3 big brothers. That's why I'm like such a like tough girl inside. I mean, I may show off a little girly, but I'm pretty tough. And everything kind of like shifted on me, like in my life, when I started hitting my teenage years. My brother was going through cancer. I grew up in a very Mexican traditional household, so I was only able to go to school and back home. I couldn't do sports. I couldn't do any extra like curricular activities. I couldn't have friends. If I did have a friend, I could never go over. They had to come over. It was pretty hard. Once I started growing up and wanted to like, and they say like, oh, you gotta let them go a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like let them just grow up. They're no, like come back home, cook, clean, stay in your room. Like I was so sheltered. I was extremely sheltered.
What age did that all kind of start to turn and you went out?
So I was young. I was like in middle school. I was in middle school where I was like, oh, can I go to the movies with my friends? And no. Then my brothers would all leave. And I'll just stay home. And I was just like, and I didn't get it. And now as an adult, it's okay. I understand they were taking care of me, especially because we lived in a bad neighborhood. But growing up, when you see your other siblings, which are all older than you, and you're the youngest and the only female, you think you're almost like them, right? I thought like, well, I'm your kids too. Why can't I go to the movies? And they never give me an explanation. The only thing that they would say is because I said so, and I was like, so then I'll be in my room and just, I was really into coloring.
Yeah.
And then I would have a friend over, and I was such a nice kid growing up. I like when I had friends, I would give them everything. Like, oh my God, I like this. Take it. Like, oh my God, you like it? Take it. Like, it made my heart happy giving them things. So then my mom would see that they would kind of take advantage of me, and then they weren't allowed. But she wouldn't tell me why. Like, they're just not allowed to come over no more. I'm like, why? And they say, because we said so. I'm like, So I ended up rebelling at a really young age. Really, really young age. I ended up rebelling. It's really bad.
Did it make you angry kind of during that time?
No, I was, granted, my brother was going through chemo. He had like radiation, open brain surgery. He had open heart surgery. He had chemo. He had everything you could think of. It was insane what he was going through. And everybody was kind of in their own world. Like my brothers had the wrestling as their gateway to like let out their frustration, right? But me, I wasn't able to do anything. So then I would find maybe that's why I like adrenaline. I would find these friends that were getting into trouble because I found adrenaline, like I would almost distract myself from what was going on. Because I went from seeing my brother like the strongest person you could think of. He was like Hulk to me, my oldest brother. He's the one I have tatted on my arm. And I started hanging around with the wrong crowd. I started doing drugs. I started at a young age doing everything I can do as a gateway, as an outlet, because I wasn't allowed to do anything else, right? I just knew I had to be sneaky. It was so bad. I had to be sneaky. So I remember being in middle school, and when I was at school, that was like my time to have fun, because I wasn't able to have fun when I was at home. So I would ditch school. I would hang out with the wrong crowds. I wouldn't go to classes. And then when the end of the school came, I was like, oh my God, I gotta go home now, because if not, I would get a whooping if I'm home later than 4:30, or I'll get grounded, or I'll be like obligated to do more chores. So they were really strict on me.
Do you think they were more strict just because of what your brother was going through, or was that kind of from the beginning?
Yeah.
Was it from the beginning?
We call like machismos, where it's like the women stay at the house. So this is so old school. The women stay at home, and then the guys are able to work and be out and about.
Whenever you were going through all those emotions with what your brother was going through, what brought you out of that at such a young age of being all depressed and sad? And
it's crazy, because looking back now, there's a big period of my life that I don't remember. I don't remember. I just remember my brother, like holding my brother's head because he was on the bed and he passed away, and just crying, going home. Then after that, everything's kind of just a blur. Like for maybe 4 years, 3 years, and then when I started like getting on my feet, I was like maybe. Because my brother died when I was 15. And then at 19, my mom started getting really sick. And then she passed away a little before I turned 20. So 5 years later. But what got me through my brother was I saw her crying, and I was trying to comfort her, and she looked at me and she said, your brother was fighting for his life and you're killing yours. Oh, that one hit me. That one hit me.
That's the burn moment right there.
Yeah. That one, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? I was like, and it hurt. It would hurt me to see my mom cry. Like, my mom was my guardian angel. She was my best friend. She was the one that although my brothers and my dad wouldn't allow me to do a lot, she'll come and she'll comfort me, and she'll talk to me, and she'll explain to me. She always protected me. Always.
Yeah. Then what age did you start getting into fighting?
Shortly after my dad kicked me out.
Kicked you out?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he kicked me out like right before my 17th birthday.
16 years old.
Yeah. It was cold. I had to be like November, early December. Had to, because shortly after I turned 17.
What was the reason? Why?
He caught me. So the one time I get caught, I was trying to be. No, I got caught several times, but the one time I actually did it where I wasn't sneaking out to like go party or do some rebel stuff. My friend calls me, Tracy, I need a ride. He was too drunk to get home, and I was like, oh my God. And at this time we only had like the phones where you could like call through the, like we'll be in the kitchen, it had a cord.
Line, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I was like, why are you calling so late? And he was like, I need a ride home. Can you pick me up? Granted, I don't have a driver's license. I'm 16. And I'm like, okay, I'll be right there. Where are you at? And he told me the cross streets. I go, oh. And we had no GPS. I had no phone at 16. So I like grab my mom's car keys and I sneak out, turn on the car. Don't even turn on the car. I just put it on neutral. And the driveway took me out.
Trying to be sneaky.
I was so sneaky. The driveway just rolled out. Then I turned it on when I was on the street and I took off. Picked him home. He was so bad. Took him home. Immediately went back home. I was like, okay. Because I'm a good friend. I'm always there for my friends. And as I'm walking in the house, I'm trying to be sneaky. I open the door and I look up and my dad's in his underwear making a sandwich. And I'm just like, and then he turns around super slow and he goes, he just goes, you fucking little girl. And I was like, Dad, it's not what it looks like. Like, it wasn't like that. He goes, get the fuck out. He goes, I'm tired of you. And my mom woke up and I was like, you know what? Fine. And I like turned around and I walked out and I left and I never got back.
Wow. Where'd you go?
I ended up staying at a lot of friends' houses.
A lot of friends' houses.
Yeah.
And then you just started getting into fighting and started making.
So back in the day, it was called the Lion's Den in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was ran by my brother's friend that's ex Cardinals. He's a football player. He was an ex-football NFL athlete. And his name was Scott Peters. And he kind of saw what I was going through. And he allowed me to train there free. Just free. I was able to go in. And I remember that became my first like healthy outlet in my entire life. Because I wasn't able to do any sports growing up. And when I did try, my family wasn't really there to support me because they would go and see my brothers wrestle. So I would end up dropping whatever sport I was doing because I just wasn't getting that support. Fast forward to my dad kicking me out. I'm going to the Lions Den now. I end up, it's kind of a blur, okay? So I end up training there, and I'm there from 10 a.m. to the first jiu-jitsu class until 6 p.m. all day, just training, taking it in, learning. I fell in love with the sport. And I was doing it for like funsies, you know. I was like, oh, this is fun. And someone said, hey, you're really good, right? Because I was tapping out. I mean, I'm not going to name drop. She's in the UFC now. But she was new in the UFC at the time. And I ended up tapping her out. And she was a purple belt, and I still was a white belt. But I was just picking up. I was learning so fast. I was there from, again, 10 to 6, 7, sometimes 8 at night. Wow. And they're like, you should try to do an amateur fight. I was like, okay. You know, like, what do I have to do? They're like, nothing, just keep training. I was like, all right. And I did my first amateur fight in, where is it at? It's like 2 hours away from Arizona.
In Arizona?
Is it like east of Arizona?
It's like coming up to like California.
New Mexico.
No. What? I think that's going like more, a little bit more. It's okay.
Oh, east or?
It's like coming.
It's just like coming to California.
Yeah. It's no. Hold on. It's. Oh.
I don't know. We'll come back to it. Continue though.
So, and I knocked the girl out within like 30 seconds. I hit her and then she fell, and I'm just like, and I look at my coach and they're like, go. I'm like, oh, and I go and I start hitting her, and they stopped the fight, and that was the most exciting thing I've ever felt in my life. And after that, I just got stuck.
Did it just feel like you unleashed a bunch of chains off of you in that fight?
No, if at the time I was like, this is what Jose felt. And I felt so connected to my brother. I felt super connected, which is weird. you know, like.
Yeah.
But then people telling me although I didn't believe it, I had so many people believe in me in that gym. I started fighting I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to pursue this for Jose. I'm going to this is my way to honor my brother and keep his memory alive. Mm-hmm. So I stuck to it. And when I'm like, say I'm going to do something, I do it, you know, which is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. I heard you say something very interesting. You said during that time when you trained, you felt so happy while training. Yeah. And then as soon as you left, you were like very depressed. Was that very true?
Yeah, very true. Very true. That would be, I don't know why yet. I just know like being there, being around good people. And these good people are lawyers all the way to people that just mow lawns. I got a concussion, okay. I'm slurring my words a little bit. Good. And everyone was just so kind. And I felt accepted. And people it was just a different atmosphere, you know, compared to being at home and just being there with no one to talk to. Mm-hmm. So it was definitely a moment where I got addicted to that moment of happiness. But again, because I got out and I was again in depression, grieving. 5 years later, my mom passed away, and it was like, okay, I can't fall down this cycle when Jose passed away, the same way when my mom passed away. I need to do better. Like I need to make my mom proud because she saw me, and for years I was just not what my family wanted me to be. Yeah, you know.
Uh-huh. Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Everything plays out the way it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But going through your beginning of your childhood, it's definitely shaped you to the person you have came today.
Yeah. So yeah. You know, something I say is everything is happening for us. It doesn't happen to us. You know. Oh. And I really believe that. I mean, I don't know if people would agree with me, but this is how I see the losses in my life. Is like my brother had to pass away for me to get back on track. You know, my mom had to pass away, which I'm still trying to figure it out, but it's made me the woman I am today. Yeah. You know, I hold myself to high standards, and I have strong boundaries, and I expect people to respect me, not because I'm someone in this world, but because I respect myself. So I hold myself, I don't want to say on a pedestal, but extremely high because of the woman that raised me. But if she were to be here, I don't think I would have done that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I am the woman I am. It had to happen to me for me to be who I am today.
Yeah, for sure.
If your brother didn't pass, where do you think you'd be today?
Probably cheering him on. I'll be cheering him on. I'll be the one in the stands.
Not fighting though?
No, because I remember when I was younger and he was training, I was like, I want to do it, right? Mm-hmm. And my brothers were like, oh, you want to train? I was like, yeah. And I was, I don't know, but I wasn't even, I think I was like 12. And I was like, I want to train. And they're like, no. And they're like, you know what? Put the boxing gloves on her. And they put the boxing gloves on me. And they made me spar, my first sparring session, a pro boxer, a female boxer. I didn't even last 20 seconds. She hit me with one body shot. I fell on my knees and I was like, and I couldn't breathe. And I looked at Jose and I start crying. Just imagine, this. She's a grown woman. I think she's like 20 something at the time. And I was 12, and she hit me with the hardest body shot. And I'm laying there and I look up and I look at Jose and he's just looking at me and I'm like, and I start crying. I was like, oh, but I went back the next day. Oh. I still went back the next day. I was like, I'm gonna show you guys. Uh-huh. I'm tough.
I'm gonna prove you guys wrong.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But all right, Tracy, it's time to go to U and Burn. It stands for unfortunate. Just like how I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, I was unfortunately involved in a school science experiment that went horribly, horribly wrong by my teacher. Yeah. Oh. And unfortunately exploded like a bomb in my face. And I was immediately rushed to ICU, where I spent a week there, had 7 surgeries, one every single day with a 50% chance to survive. Because with burns, they were worried about my breathing stopping because of how bad my face is swelling. But whenever I found that out, that I had a 50% chance to survive, I was like, what's the one thing that's going to bring me joy? Because I can either sit and crawl up in a little hole in my bed and wish to be alive still. But I was like, why not find something that brings me joy? So I picked up my golf putter and I put golf ball after golf ball after golf ball into this little glass jar. And I truly believe if that burn moment doesn't happen in the hospital, I don't have this podcast, nor am I talking to Tracy Cortez, nor if I'm even alive still. So
yeah. I think it's really hard sometimes too, because sometimes you're the one directly infected, or sometimes you're the one who saw it.
Yeah.
And I think it's very hard to see someone that you love go through such a traumatic experience. And knowing a little bit about your story, you were kind of like me on the outside of that whole thing. So talk about that time. Obviously, you already alluded to your brother, but your mom too. How hard was that for you, and what kind of brought you through it?
That was the hardest one, you know. My voice shivered a little bit. That was the hardest one, seeing my mom, or reliving what was once a nightmare happening again. That was the hardest part, where I had this, and I still kind of do, this regret in my heart that Jose saw me just ruin my life. So that was so after he passed away and I had my mom, to me it was, let me be everything Jose expected me to be, because he saw nothing but greatness in me, right? Even though I didn't see it in myself, I knew that's what my brother saw in me, so let me chase that greatness to honor him. But then my mom passed away, and oh man, I struggled. Because that was just my angel. That was my guardian angel. Like, no, and I'm not exaggerating this when I say my mom was the best mother on this earth, and I stand by it. She is the most caring, loving, soft-spoken. And I thank God she like dug her faith into me, because if she wouldn't have and she passed away, I would have been so lost in this world. So for a long time, I was running off of my mother's faith, and eventually I started searching my own faith. It's like, okay, you know, but yeah. That was a hard one, seeing my mom go through something that she saw her son go through. And because there's different perspectives, right? There's hers where she's suffering what her son suffered, and then I'm reliving a nightmare through my mom. So my mom saw me better my life. So seeing her go, I wasn't ready, because I was only 20, where I still needed, there's no woman I look up to besides my mom. Like, you could have anybody in front of me, the highest athlete or actress or singer, and I'm not fazed by it. But you put my mom in, I immediately get on it, and I just wanted to make her proud. So my mom saw me better my life, and because she saw me better my life, I felt good. Like, okay, she saw me do good, you know? So when she passed away, although I took it very hard, I was ready, but the one of my brother haunted me, where it was like, dang, he never got to see me do good in my life. That one haunted me the most.
Does that still push you today?
Absolutely. Like, I noticed, and I recently, this last camp, noticed, like, because someone asked me, after Gloria, a dear friend of mine passed away, they said, hey, do you talk to your mom? I was like, actually, I don't. The one I lean to the most, I talk to my brother. Like, I'm running and I'm tired and I'm in camp and I'm crying. I'll be like, because my body aches. I don't need motivation. I push myself. I am a workhorse. I'll be running and I'll be like, Jose, give me your strength. And I lean on my big brother a lot in my life. Yeah.
I think the hardest part when you go through tragedy is like the question why. Because, I mean, we have a big faith too, and I know you have a faith, but questioning God, like, why? Like, for me, it was him. It's like, he's freaking 12 years old, man.
Yeah.
Look at all these people in this world. And as bad it is to say, like, why can't it be them?
Yeah.
But I honestly, truthfully think, for me, I don't know about priests as much, but for me, that's like when my faith was built the most, was during that time. I've never felt more connected to God than during that time. Like, really just leaning on him, because he's the only one that could bring you out.
Absolutely.
Only one.
And it's one of those things where I noticed in my life is I've never asked why, right? I've never asked why. I would always say, God, give me the strength. Give me the strength. Give me the strength. Give me the strength. And he's given me the strength he's pulled me out of some dark places, man. Like, no one has any idea, some dark places. And recently, this last year has been one of the most challenging years of my life. It comes close to the feeling of my mom passing away.
Really?
Like, I had some hard days where I couldn't, if it weren't for God, I don't know where I would be right now. And I realized because I talked to him a lot, right? And I asked myself, I said, okay, I said, God, forgive me for questioning you sometimes, right? I don't mean to question him, but I'm human. I don't want to know why this year has took it, because this year was extremely hard. Not why this year happened the way it did happen to me. What are you trying to teach me? What is the purpose behind this pain? You know? And I think shifting your perspective like that, really, you're able to pull yourself out of it, because you're no longer playing that victim game. You're saying, okay, I'm going to use this as a tool. This pain is a tool. And just so you know, God does give his strongest soldiers, you know, the battles that somebody else in this world can't even put up with.
Yeah. So. So I feel like God speaks through people sometimes. Oh, and absolutely. I feel like that's what he did in your life. And yeah, it's almost like, what would you do without him? Almost kind of like what you were just talking about. And but during that whole this past year, what brought you? Was there, like, obviously, like, your faith did, but was there like anything that?
So this past year, I went through some things on a personal level that nobody's aware of. You know, I was hiding. I was battling. I was going through the grains this year. And everybody, this year is when I felt the most love and support. But although I felt the love and support, I still felt this pain, this emptiness in my heart, right? So somebody invited me to go to church. I'm telling you, everything happens for a reason. They invited me to go to church last year in August. When I was going through it, I was actually getting ready to fight in December. And I started going to church, and that's when I, for the first time in my life, felt like God. I felt the presence. I felt the Holy Spirit, and I broke down crying. And it was the most beautiful feeling most beautiful feeling. And I felt so loved. Although I was bawling horrible. I looked scary. I had boogers running down my nose. But it was so freeing, and I felt so loved. And I left there, and I was like, wow, I want to feel that again. And besides fighting and winning, I've never had that feeling outside of the cage. So I found my another love, you know, and I felt loved back. And I know if I didn't, granted, so then, okay, I was about to get off topic.
No, you're good.
So then I got closer to God last year. And then the December happened. And it was just like, I felt like the universe grabbed me and just freaking spinned me around and said, survive this now. And I know if I weren't searching for God back in August, I wouldn't have been able to be here right now this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about December made you feel like you just got wrapped up?
I was supposed to fight in Florida, and the doctors didn't let me at all. And I went back to my hotel, and I flew in my girl that braids hair, which Mimi, if you're watching, love you. And I had my niece there, and I had who I was with at the time. And I was just sitting there in shock on how I didn't get cleared to fight.
What'd they say?
Yeah, what happened?
It's a long story.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I know. It's sad. It's really sad. And I just sat there, and I had in one moment, literally, and one out of the, say, by 10, everybody was cheering for me. By 10:30, within 30 minutes, everybody was calling me the worst of the worst.
For pulling out, you mean?
Well, I didn't pull out. The doctors
for
pulled me out.
not fighting. Yeah.
I was ready to fight. I was like, dude, I don't care what I'm going through physically. Let me fight. They're like, we can't let you fight. And I said, okay. And I had just made a post, my weigh-in post. And then 30 minutes later, I couldn't even explain to the fans. 30 minutes later, Tracy Cortez pulled out through medical reasons. And I'm like, and the world just within 30 minutes went from cheering me on top of the mountain to just dragging me through the mud. And I'm not one to I'm never going to go online and explain anything personal of mine, just because fans already feel very entitled to our lives.
Sure.
So I stayed quiet. I stayed to myself, and I got myself back to health. And right when I was doing okay, it's like, boom. Oh, I think it was my pec. I tore my pec. So they're like, no, well, you're out for the next 4 months. I was like, ah. And then that was on a Tuesday. By Friday, I tore a ligament that same week on my hand, where it was the tiniest little ligament, and I needed hand surgery. And they're like, okay, well, you're out for another 6 months. I was like, oh my God.
It's just like the never-ending bad news.
Ending from December on out. And I was just like, this year freaking sucks. Oh my God, this year sucks. And I'm telling you, I'm so grateful for my friends, and I'm not, discrediting them for being there for me. I love them. They really, showed, like, they were really there for me when I needed it. But most and foremost, like, I just got closer. I just leaned on God. I needed him, and I'm sure you had moments where you're like, how can this happen to me? And if it weren't for not just those around you, but I don't know how strong your faith is, but I know I wouldn't be here with you guys either. So.
Yeah, it's funny how it all works out, because in the end you fought in September, and you told us something very cool yesterday, how right before they opened the curtains and you saw Tracy flags, Tracy t-shirts, and you said you literally could have broke down crying.
I don't even want to, that moment, man. So I just thought to myself, I said, God, you put me through so much to appreciate this moment. Oh, I don't even want to cry. No,
you're okay.
That was the most incredible feeling ever, because there's always going to be trolls. Always. But seeing so much fans come and support me after such a long layoff. As an athlete, it's scary to be out for so long, because the sport moves so fast. So I was really scared. I was like, man, my time is running. Fans are going to forget about me. I was on such a good, what do you call it?
Like trajectory?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was really lost, especially because all I've known since I was 17, since my dad kicked me out, was to train. And I can't punch here because I have a torn pec. So I had to really sit there and say, okay, who is Tracy Cortez? Who am I? Aside from fighting. And I figured out, man, I'm a loving person. As weird as that sounds. Because I'm never around my family. I'm around my family, but not to the extent where, because I'm so focused, and I'm so addicted to bettering myself and wanting to be the best, that I've never had the opportunity to connect with my friends on a deeper level. I never had the opportunity to connect with my family on a deeper level. So this year, not only was it the hardest year, it was the year where I found out who I was myself. where, I love loving my people. I love it. It makes me happy where they come over and we do nothing and we have movie nights, and I love being with my niece, and I'm a very loving person to those that I care for. And I learned that about myself. And I learned just everything of who I am more, on a deeper level as well. And so this year was definitely a blessing, but it took a lot for me to see it.
Yeah.
Maybe God saw in the future and gave you all those tough tribulations, and then whenever that moment happened,
because I kid you not, the second those curtains opened, my family didn't even know that I was walking out through there. I look up and the light hits and I just see my dad and all my family and all my friends, and I walk out and everybody's holding their flags, and I made flags with my face on it, Team Cortez.
Yeah.
And I just saw it all around the stadium. And I was just so taken back. And I'm walking out and I felt my lips shiver. I was like, and I had to look down. I go, no, Tracy, focus. Like, you're working right now. But I felt their energy. I felt the love, and I felt so grateful.
Yeah. And then later on in the fight, chanting, ole, ole,
oh, and
ole,
and then I heard, and I think it was like second round, where they started chanting for me. They're like, ole, 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 ole. And I was in there and I was just like, oh my God, I never thought I would get that. Because that's like an honor. That's just a big, that's huge. You don't hear that often. You hear it out in like soccer. Maybe, I don't even think you've heard it in like football.
No, not really.
And you've yet to hear it in fights.
Yeah.
So to hear the Olays, I was just like, that's that for me. I was like, oh my God. It was such a beautiful feeling. Yes. I almost cried the second round too.
You almost cried twice.
I'm just a crybaby.
Yeah. That's crazy how alert you are in a fight though. To even hear that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people say that it just gets quiet. It's just you and the other person. But to be able to hear that.
I hear everything.
You hear everything?
Like when I get a good punch in and they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, another one. Yeah. Yes. The kick. Dude, but they're like, oh shit, let me calm down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it true that you feed off the crowd though in a fight?
I do very much. Like I've heard fighters say, when we were in quarantine, they preferred no audience. And I'm like, are you guys crazy? I said, we're performers. That is the point of fighting. We're to perform, to put on a show. We're entertainers. I love entertaining and put on a good fight. And I love when the crowd cheers. I just love being loved.
Yeah.
I love the crowd cheering for me. But I'm also used to the crowd booing me. Like when I made my debut in Brazil, and they were like, boo. And they were chanting in Brazil, like, kill her, to kill me.
What is it?
Uvamo.
Yes.
That's creepy.
And I heard it, and I was like, oh, yeah? I was like, well, you guys watch. I'm going to freaking kill her. And I like flipped the switch.
That was crazy, too, because you guys both, like, missed
scale.
weight, but then you didn't miss weight.
You guys saw that?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Because the scale was off by like half a pound. Or
yeah, I think it was like 0.7 off, and everyone. But I was thinking to myself, wouldn't everyone have missed weight then? Pretty much, if it was.
Well, some people like weighed in under. They would say, 135.
So
yeah. So they originally, because I think me and her were the last ones to weigh in, they brought the scale up to the top where the sun. They moved the scale. Oh. And they said, "Can you guys just weigh yourselves here because we have to go down?" So I don't know why they did that test weight thing. They've never done that. Granted, now I know they've never done that. It was my pro debut, the UFC debut. So I step on the scale. Okay, we're on weight. Let's go back down. She made weight. We went back down. Then we weigh ourselves in front of the media, and we both missed by 0.5. We're just like,
hold on.
And the commission was there, and everybody was like, they just made weight. So a few hours later, after they analyzed everything, they're like, it was on them. And I'm so grateful that
so
they double checked and they said, okay, what was off here? You know.
So did they like reweigh you guys again, or
no? They just gave us. They instead of announcing it that we missed weight, it was like we were on weight.
Yeah.
They didn't take money off of our.
Well, because sometimes like then you get the extra hour to cut. That would have been a lot worse if you guys went down and tried to cut that extra half pound.
And actually, even then, I think I had another. I can't remember exactly what fight it was, but I weighed in at 120. 6.5. I had 0.5 to cut. And the doctors, again, didn't let me go cut. It's because I get so lean. I get so shredded.
Yeah.
Insanely shredded. And they're like, you can't cut no more. I was like, I have a little bit in me. I have to go pee. Like, I just peed. Let me freak it. I just peed. Like, I tinkled. Like, let me go cut the last. I have an hour. And they didn't give it to me. And the matchmaker called my manager, and he apologized. He goes, hey, we're so sorry. Like, we had no idea. If they were there, they would have. So that was probably, I think, my first time actually missing weight.
Was that hard to, like, swallow?
It was, because I'm really professional.
Yeah.
I'm extremely professional.
Oh, yeah.
I take my job very serious.
Yeah.
Then did it lead over to, like, any, like, what ifs into the next camp? Almost like,
It did.
oh, I need to, like, really start cutting weight.
Yes. Well, not on my end, because my coaches know. Like, I am, when it comes down to cutting weight, I'm not, like, I ain't no sissy. I don't complain. I look at my coach, and if it's a bad cut, because we've all had them, I say, hey, just make sure I don't die. I say it jokingly, I'm like, make sure I don't die.
Yeah.
I'll throw me in the sauna.
Yeah.
And I'm in there, and I make the weight. I push through it.
Yeah.
Do you cut a lot?
Fight week? No. I cut maybe, sometimes I cut 8, sometimes I cut 10. This last one, actually, I cut, was the most I've cut, but it was the best weight cut ever. I don't know why. I was so lean. I cut, I think I was like 13 over. That was the most I've been over.
Going in fight
week. And I was like, man, but I was water loading. And granted, I always water load, but I honestly don't know what was different. I did one cut at night. And they're like, do you want to cut it? Because normally I cut it the same night to wake up on weight. I said, no. I said, I have 5 more pounds. I lost a few the first cut. I said, let's cut the rest. I still have water in me. I said, let's cut the rest in the morning. And normally I like looking pretty in weigh-ins. This time I was like, I don't care. I just weigh-ins. Let me cut the weight in the morning. And you could see it. I go in there. My cheeks are still red from the sauna. Like, I came out the sauna, weighed myself. I'm like, wait, let's go. Went straight to the weigh-ins, weighed in. My hair was still, like, had all kinds of sweet sweat on it. Yeah. But I went there so happy. Yeah, I was only dehydrated for 15, 20 minutes.
Do you normally cut day of?
No, I hate it.
No, you always do it night before.
I always do it night before.
This is Noche?
Noche UFC, yeah.
Yeah. What was that like, though, after you got your hand raised and just all the past 18 months of just grinding? What was that moment like?
It was that camp was really hard because I got injured that camp too. I'm telling you, I got so injured this camp. This year alone was the most injuries I've had in my entire career. I've never been injured. I never pulled a muscle. The most I think I had was like a really bad sprained ankle. But prior to that, I've never had surgery. I've never been injured like this, right? Yeah. So what? Oh, I pulled my back out. Oh. So I couldn't train for like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. I couldn't run, which is huge in my deficit for my weight. I couldn't wrestle, which is also huge in my game planning. So that's why I didn't wrestle, because I had a solid week and a half of my first week of camp. And then after that, I was too scared to wrestle because I was like, what if I tweak my back again? Yeah. So I was just in there every day sparring. Yeah. Sparring, play sparring, hitting mitts, drilling, Dutch drills. Everything was stand up. Everything. And it showed in my fight.
Yeah, that's
hands
for sure.
Look crisp.
Thank you.
Then you got pulled Jasmine.
Oh my God. I should have done a Jasmine.
How did you not just up kick her whenever?
You know what? I saw red. And that was very reckless of me. I was like, I just dropped my hands. Yeah. Uh-huh. And then I think she knew what she did, because she started walking backwards as I'm walking forward. And then she was yelling, and I didn't understand her.
Yeah. And she's not American.
And then she's Canadian.
Yeah.
And she's like, and then I just hear, what? Uh-huh. And I'm like, oh, she's like, what? I didn't pull your hair. And to me, I'm like, first of all, I didn't say you did, but you pulled my fucking hair. Like, you could see it. I put it on my TikTok, actually, where you could read my lips, where I'm like, you pulled my fucking hair. Yeah. And then I put my hands up, and I go, put your hands up. Oh my God. And then I remember, and then I'm like, pop, pop.
You got
Hit it with
this.
the 1-2, yeah.
This portion of the Burn Factory podcast is sponsored by Phoenix Salon Suites. Please visit Phoenix Salon Suites at PHENIX Salons SALON Suites SUITES.com to find one near you.
As you guys may know, I was tragically burned in a school science experiment by my teacher that gave me a 50% chance to survive. And through that, I have to wear sunscreen every day for the rest of my life. And as being a golfer, the brand I trust is Kula.
Man, look at this bottle. Kula. This just screams beaches, waves, and sun. So let's give this a smell.
The nice
man.
wind of a Tropicana breeze.
This is smelling like Hawaii, our favorite place. So next time you guys need sunscreen, go get yourself Kula. You'll thank us later. You're actually leading us right into our next letter. It's R. It's ridiculous. Unfortunate burn moments really make you who you are, and I think God has really prepared you through all your trials to see a greater and a bigger goal. But moving into R, ridiculous. You kind of alluded to the Jasmine thing with her pulling your hair, but is there any other ridiculous burn moments that you've been through?
This entire year was ridiculous, man. This entire year, man. I'm over it. I'm already ready for New Year's tomorrow. Yeah. Besides that, I think that another thing was we were at something that was just so reckless, so ridiculous. You would think you would clip your helmet on, right? If you're on you guys know the Can-Ams, the razors.
Yep. Yeah, like the
right?
Doom Buggy type things. Yeah.
We were in Glamis. It's a huge event. Thousands of people come, and there's fireworks and there's food and people are in the desert and we're barbecuing and it's a great time. But you have to clip your helmet. Well, I didn't clip my helmet. I don't know who I thought I was, like Superwoman or something. And when we flipped and rolled, my helmet came off. So scary. And I just see my helmet and I'm looking at it, and then I'm like, oh shit! And we're rolling, right? And as I'm like twisting my head backwards, I hit the back of my head.
Like on the
the pole?
Yeah,
like
on the poles of the doom buggies, and I end up, I'm out. I black out, and I'm assuming I had to hit my head everywhere, because I was so worse than the fight. I was so bruised up. I chipped the back of my tooth. A mole. I chipped it. It's chipped right now. I know. And
you couldn't tell.
Thank you. And like if I laughed, if my smile is too big, you'll probably see it. Yeah. So, I just remember waking up and someone found my phone and it was full of dirt, and I was like, oh my God, my phone's dirty. And then I look around and I just see all my friends so worried, and I'm like full of blood. My head is like getting so huge, and my friend comes and puts pressure on it. She's like, you have to put pressure on it. She's gonna get a
hematoma.
Yeah, and they start putting pressure on my forehead because it was getting huge. And I'm talking to the patrol officer, and they're trying to contact someone to bring the helicopter to escort me to the ER. And I'm like, no, and everybody's freaking out. And I went on a fighter's flight. Yeah. It's like survival mode, and I had to calm everybody down. And I had to be the one there for everybody while I'm spitting out blood, and it was traumatic. It was horrible.
How long ago was that?
A few weeks ago.
I
still have like the red little. You can't see it, but I still have like a little bump. If I like,
you can't tell.
Thank you.
It's sparring.
Sparring.
Yeah.
But
no, because that means a girl hit me hard.
Oh, it wasn't sparring.
It wasn't sparring.
You walked into a door.
I walked into a door. Imagine. But yeah, that was also a reality check for me, where it's like, man, I could have died. You know, that was very reckless of me. That was. Yeah. Did
you ever worry about that, if you would die from that, from bleeding in your mouth, or?
I did. I became like, these last couple of weeks, I've been super emotional, and my level of like gratitude has just, it's off the roof, you know. Because if I didn't buckle the first one, the one that keeps you seated. I only buckled the one in the chest. Which is like literally like, you guys know the dog collars?
Yeah.
That's all it is here. So if I didn't buckle this one, I would have flown out. Yeah. I would have been dead. So that was definitely like also a reality check. And now it's like, okay, now I have a concussion. I can't train. You know, I can't train for another 3 months, 3 to 4 months. So until, what is it? December, January, February, March, sometime in March, maybe April. Cause I got hit in the head pretty bad. Like the doctors were like, yeah, your brain is bruised and you have no internal bleeding, but yeah.
Yeah.
That stuff. Maybe this is a rest though that you need. Maybe it just allows you to get connected to the earth.
I was ready to just
Like, no, I want to
chase
fight.
that belt, you know. But everything happens for a reason. If anything, I'm really grateful because now, I wanted to fight in December. This month coming up, but I had so many projects and ideas that I wanted to do. But if I would have fought, I wouldn't have been focused on what I want to do. So now I'm blessed to fully give my attention to my first ever toy drive, right? I'm able to spend the first holidays with my family in Mexico in a long time. I'm able to just enjoy the season. So again, perspective.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I actually do have a question for you because with traumatic experiences, like for me, like seeing him go through what he went through, it kind of opens your mind to like a whole different world. Like you come that close with death or experience death.
Yeah.
So like you going through your brother's situation, did it ever like, I don't know how to word this, but did it open your mind to like other things like, oh shoot,
Like
maybe
scared.
I have cancer, or like maybe like
yeah.
did your mind start to kind of psychologically do that? Because with him, like I started fearing death too. Like there was a whole 6 months of my entire life where I was terrified to drive because
Really?
because I was like, man, like he almost died. Like I felt like I was gonna die driving, like get hit.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious if you kind of experienced that too.
No, I almost died twice this year, right? And it was one of those things where if it's my time, like I'm not gonna question God. I know where I'm going. But am I scared to die? No, I'm scared to live and not live my full potential. That's my biggest fear. That is crazy. It's scary.
Crazy. Have you seen the robots?
Yeah, I have seen it.
You seen the robots?
Yeah.
They've been doing them a lot at like the Chargers games and Rams
What?
games in LA.
Yeah.
They're putting them like in the crowd,
No.
Yep.
Dude, that's
Trippy.
scary.
and they like talk back. And
I would
like,
leave. I would be like,
And
and leave.
But they do like human things. The way they like look, turn their head, and like, it's scary. I don't like that stuff.
I don't like it.
I don't
Me
want
too.
them. I don't want them working at a fast food restaurant whenever I go get my food there, because you never know what they might have messed
I would
up.
trust a robot doing my food more than a normal person.
Really?
Because you know what? If it's fast food, maybe. If it's like a restaurant, like cooking and adding
Yeah.
spices, and it's like no, because people make their little touches. Like
Uh-huh.
no, it probably needs more salt. A robot
Yeah.
They
wouldn't
gotta-
know.
they're not gonna be able to taste it. and be
Yeah,
like,
you know what I mean?
Oh, you know what? I need this.
But if it's a fast food, like, I mean, I don't eat fast food, but let's say like McDonald's or something, like they just put it on the patty or something. Excuse me, you got my order wrong. I'm like, okay, and you know they're not gonna spit in it or something, you know?
yeah.
I guess.
Do you like to cook or no?
I used to.
You used to.
And now I do so much, and I'm almost never. I used to meal prep. I used to cook. That now it's when I'm home for like a small period of time where my food kind of goes bad when I come back home. So I eat. It's more convenient, especially because I live alone, to just eat out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love cooking, but kind of the same thing. We travel so much. It's like, it's hard to.
Yeah.
But a nice like full week of like meal prep, I'm like,
But then I do the meal prep, and then say I'll do it for like Monday through Friday. Then I leave on a Wednesday, and then the rest of the food goes bad. I'm like, like I bought some
Dang it.
fresh apples right now. I'm like, I hope they don't go bad by the time I get home.
Honeycrisp?
No, it's not Fiji. It's another one,
Oh.
I don't know.
but it was really good.
The Honeycrisp apples are the best ones.
But
You know those ones?
I do.
They're kinda like the
those are my
sweet
favorite.
ones.
Yeah, those are my favorite. They were next to the Honeycrisp.
I'll tell you what though. What's in season are grapes.
Grapes. Have you had cotton candy grapes?
No.
What?
Yes, they're flavored like it's literally cotton candy grapes, green grapes.
What?
Has
Really?
anyone here had them? No. Are you
Cotton
serious?
candy?
I don't.
Are they at the
I don't-
store?
Yes, I really doubt that they're probably good for you. But
Like,
I
is
tried
it
them for
actually-
the first time last year, and they taste like cotton candy,
But they're like
kidding.
actual grapes.
but they're grapes.
What?
It is insane. It is. They're so sweet. It is insane.
Maybe AI made them.
I don't know, but I was like, let me try these cotton candy,
Maybe.
and I ended up eating them all in this grocery store, and it was an empty bag. I was like,
Uh huh.
the lady scanned it. She was like, I
Two
got
grapes?
hungry. Yeah,
Yeah.
I ate grapes.
I got hungry.
We got a Vons. Maybe we'll go check them out. See if they have them.
We should
Why
go.
not?
We
We
should
should
vlog
go.
it.
Let's go.
Cotton
I'm down.
candy. Cotton candy
On a
grapes.
mission.
Interesting. I gotta ask. So, were you more nervous for the Contender Series fight than your actual debut? in
Then
the
my
UFC?
UFC, yeah, oh yeah, that was like, whatever. I'm gonna lay it all on the line here, because not only is it win, but it's performance. You could win and not have a good performance, and it's just like, there goes your shot. So and then I worked so hard, you know. I was, at that time, it was like my mom passed away. I was leaving. I was freshly out of an 8-year relationship. So I was just having like losses after losses in my life. So I was just like, I need this. I freaking need this. I was working like 3 jobs. So you could see it. I was there, and I after I won, I just broke down. I was like, when Dana White called my name, I'm just like,
Just
cried.
let it all
Yeah.
out. Oh, that's
I couldn't
so
even
cool.
talk. I was like, I was like, oh my God. Oh, I'm such a crybaby. I need to stop. I'm such a crybaby.
No, you're good. I can imagine the energy in that place, like for
It's
Contender
passion,
Series.
you guys.
Like, but you just feel everyone's nerves.
You
Everyone's like
do.
on edge. And
It's
they're
on
like,
edge. Everyone's like quiet. You hear every punch. You hear like the opposite. You literally are sitting across the cage from your opponent's family members.
Yeah.
So it's like you're yelling. They're cheering for me, and then they look and they're like, oh, and then you hear them, and you're like, no, you go. And
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, it's so intimate.
yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I want to go. We need to go. Jacob, get us tickets. Come on. Jacob needs to get us
I
tickets.
got you guys.
Oh, you got us?
I got you guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
All 3 of us will go. I have to go. I want to experience it.
When is the last? When is the?
It's already done.
Oh,
Next
is
year
it?
they start.
Oh, let's
Like,
do it.
August maybe
Let's
or
plan it.
July. I don't know when they start, but we'll
Yeah.
have to go
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we've been to
No,
the
let's do it.
Apex for
Yeah.
real fights, but Contender Series is a whole.
It's different.
I love
It's
it.
intimate.
I love it.
I walk around there like
Uh-huh.
on the place. I'm like, hi.
I'm like, yeah, I've been there. I've done that.
But I go and I like say hi to everybody, like the security, the people in the kitchen. Like I make my rounds.
Yeah.
Make it
Everyone's so sweet. Yeah, I make my rounds.
We went to the PI for the first time this past July. Was
Yeah,
it? Yeah,
it was
we were
July.
in July, and that place is so cool. I've always wanted to go there, but everyone's so friendly. Hey,
Yeah,
how you doing?
yeah.
I was like, gosh, the culture here is unbelievable.
Yeah, I remember when I first went to the PI. Everyone knew me. They knew me. They were, hey Tracy, hey Tracy, and I was so new. I didn't know nobody. So I felt rude. I was like, how the hell does everyone know me, but I don't know them, right? Because it's a new environment for me. And then, I think one of the sweetest moments was I was talking to Megan, and she said, hey, she put me aside. She said, just so you know, you might not know everyone here, but we know you and you have everyone's support here. And when she said that, I was like, okay. Like, because I was very
just make-
intimidated, and
yeah.
I was young, I was shy, I was to myself. And when she said that, I was like, okay. Like it was a really good feeling. So thank you, Megan, for watching.
That's cool. That's the culture of the UFC is super cool.
Yeah.
Between everyone, security,
Yeah.
Oh,
top
everyone.
dogs,
All of them.
everyone is
All
just
of them.
so cool. But all right, Tracy, it's time to go to N. N is kind of 2 parts. It's like now and next. So are there any burn moments that you're going through right now, or any burn moments that you see coming up?
Right now, yeah, the concussion, the accident. Like I have my moments where I'm driving and I just full of gratitude and I break down crying like, oh my God, I could have died. Thank you. Like I don't know what my purpose is here, and I'm just praying like God holds my hand and just walks me through this life, because I wouldn't be here right now. So the concussion where my head hurts, I'm not training again. So I'm definitely going through it right now, still a little bit, but it's something beautiful that I heard on a previous podcast is like the dot analogy. Have you guys heard it? No. It's like when you look forward and everything is spread out, all these little dots, all these goals, all the people in your life, everything is just spread out and nothing makes sense, right? On your trials and your errors and your highs and your lows and who your relationships and your family and your career, everything's just spread out. You're like, dang, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. But when you look back, all the dots line up. and you're just like, everything happened the way it was supposed to happen. You know, and that's kind of where I'm at right now, where it's like, you know what, the accident, the concussion, I'm still going through a lot of things on a personal level, and nothing makes sense to me right now looking forward. I just know the end goal, and I know that I'm going to do the best I can, and my intentions are pure, and I'm not going to hurt nobody, because when I look back, everything makes sense. Everything aligns, you know, so.
Everything you went through is the person who you became today.
Exactly.
But do you think going to Brazil and training was a big?
It was definitely something that got me out of it as well. Huge. I'm a big believer in like grounding yourself. And in Arizona, I was doing the same thing, which wasn't helping me. You know, it wasn't getting me nowhere. So I went to, I'm such a water person. Like I see the water and I'm like, and I want to jump in. I don't know why. Like I went hiking the other day in Payson, Arizona, and the lake is freezing, closing out, jumped in.
Dang.
Literally, I was like, oh my God. Took my shoes off.
It's a cold plunge.
They're like,
Real
no,
life
you're
cold
not.
plunge.
And I was like, watch me. And I jumped in and I just felt so alive. And something about water that just makes me feel good. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's although like a fire sign, I'm Sagittarius, like fire's my element. I just love the water. So I was in Brazil and all I did was train, go hang out at the beach. I knew nobody. I took that trip on my own. I went solo. I learned the language, learned the culture. I fell in love with it. And I felt so grounded. It felt so good. Like God knew what he was doing when I went there, because I could easily, like, I'm a fun person to be around. And I could easily hung out with people I shouldn't have. Partied, get to know a different cult side of Brazil. But instead, I ended up, people gravitated to me and they're like, hey, do you want to go to Bible study? Do you want to go to church with us? Do you want to do this? And it was more on a spiritual aspect. Like, it was very healing.
Yeah.
So, you know, and like we'll do Bible studies and we'll go to the beach and then we'll go back to the house and we'll just watch fights and then go train the next day, go back to the beach. And it was very therapeutic being out there.
Yeah. There's always something about having a change.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the same thing over and over again. Because then you're just like, all right, well, it's the same result every single day.
But a lot of people are scared of change.
Yeah.
Very scared of change.
I actually saw something where it was this guy talking about it, and people wherever they're born, he encourages them to go live somewhere else in a different state, because growing up in the same place over and over again, there's just something about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of true.
There's something to say about getting outside of your box.
You know what?
You have to get outside your box.
Yes. So I vouch on that, because growing up, I didn't know anything outside of my little community, Maryville in Phoenix. Horrible area. You know, it's not a good area now. I didn't know there was a world outside of that. Like, how small-minded. You know what I mean? And again, everything happens for us, not to us. When my dad kicked me out, moved to Scottsdale, was at the gym, I met a whole new different world. It was insane, and I learned more, and I educated myself, and I ended up seeing the world and how beautiful it could be, but also how ugly it could be. And it was an eye-opener. And then I started traveling, and I was like, wow, if I would have stayed home, I would have never seen this side of the world. I would have never seen that there's more in life than this.
Yeah.
You know?
Think about all the new things you learned too.
Yeah.
That you brought back over.
Yeah.
And the people.
And the people, yeah.
You never know who
Where
you
now
meet.
I can go to Brazil and it's like, I know where I could stay. I know who to call. I have friends. I have so many friends out there now in Natal.
You can understand them.
I don't know about now. I might be able to understand it, but I won't be able to speak it. I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I actually just messaged one of my friends out there. I was like, hey, professor. I was like, you need to help me because I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
Like,
It's very true. If you don't use it, you lose it. I think that's what they
Yes.
say to the language.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We got to go to Mexico, then Brazil.
I'm
Yeah.
willing.
Let's do it.
Mexico, Brazil, contender series.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. There you go. In
All
that
three.
order.
All three lined up.
Yeah. But so what's next for you? Obviously you had the concussion, but when is like the ideal time that you would want to fight again?
So I was thinking February, but that's out the door now. I'm hoping early, maybe March, April, if possible. And that's just me pushing it, you know. But I also want to be smart and not jumping in too quick because, again, a concussion, like one punch and you can get knocked out. So it's one of those things where it's like I can try to push it and I'm aiming high, but it really depends on how my body reacts and how I heal my body, you know, taking the right supplements and all that stuff.
Yeah, because I feel like you don't want to jump in too fast because if you did,
part of me wants to, but I know better.
Is that the ego?
Yeah,
And then,
it's like that tough Tracy. You know what I mean?
yeah. But
I'll be a
Fight week.
manager real quick. Aaron Blanchfield, Tracy Cortez, Sphere, September.
Ooh,
Book it.
Let's
Book it.
go.
Book it.
Let's go.
yeah, no,
That'd be sweet.
That would be hard.
The rematch in the Sphere.
I know she wants the rematch for sure.
She wants it?
I know for sure. I think she called me out.
Did she?
Well, she said she would want to take that win.
Take that win.
Get that win back.
Mm.
I'm like, all right.
Slowly roll.
We'll have to find out. If not, Fight Week, International Fight Week would be
Yeah, well, when is that?
July.
Or 300. But I feel like that's pushing it a little bit.
Yeah.
But September is when.
I'm for sure fighting in September.
You have to.
For sure.
Yeah.
Of
It's a
next
massive.
The Sphere. I wonder, have you seen the Sphere?
I have.
Have you been in it?
No. Have you guys?
No. Just from the outside.
I heard it's crazy.
I actually parked like in the structure and had takeout sushi with my best friend and we're just watching it. We're like, wow.
It's crazy. Did you see the little eyeball on it?
Yeah, it was. That was
Freaky.
weird. I was like,
Then it's like the smiley face.
to me, it was
in
like
there.
the clouds. I was like, oh my god, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
No, but I saw videos on TikTok inside. It's crazy, but there's no like. It's not like an arena. It's just like stage and it's just seats.
It's like one side.
One side.
like
So I
just
was
up.
wondering.
One side.
Yeah.
That's
Or, like
crazy.
kind of like half a side, I guess. So I don't know how they would do that. It would be like, because they have a massive like screen, like you see the screen, and it's like the stage, and then
Well, maybe they'll use the screen. Maybe.
maybe we'll see if Dana works his magic. He said it's booked, like it's done.
Yeah,
They're doing it.
I'm excited. Dana, get me on that card.
Got to get on the card.
Against Blanchfield, if not for the belt.
You know, it would be dope for the
never know.
belt.
You and
Never know.
Alexa,
Yeah.
would you fight her?
Yeah, respectfully. Yeah. I
Respectfully?
think like it would be an honor to fight because we both grew up literally almost like right there. She was in Invicta when she got in the UFC. I got in Invicta, and then she started going up in the rankings in the UFC, and then I got in the UFC, and it's like we used to train together, and just seeing two hungry like young, just Mexican kids go from like nothing to seeing her, it's almost like, God, I'm proud. You know, I support women like achieving great things. I'm not a hater, although she's in my division and whatever. And people are like, you're gonna fight her one day. It's like that doesn't mean I'm gonna hate on her success. Like if anything, it'll be an honor to fight her. You know, that's the point of the fight game, to see if you belong up there. And if I do, it'll be a great opportunity, and I think it'll be a great fight.
Tell you what, it does numbers. That's for sure.
Yeah,
It does numbers.
it does numbers.
Even if it's in America or Mexico or the Sphere.
Ooh, or the Sphere.
Oh, the
There's three
Sphere.
options, but I mean, the UFC's crazy. You never know. One
I
day
know.
you can get the call, hey, you're in for the title shot. Yeah.
I know. Well, I'm 11-1 right now and undefeated in the UFC, so it's just a matter of time. I just have to be active, and the injuries are kind of killing me right now. So I
all
just gotta
work
be
out.
patient. It's all gonna work out.
The dots will all
Everything's right
connect.
now. Everything's just makes no sense, but it'll make sense.
The dots will connect.
They will connect.
All
They
right,
will.
Tracy, you just felt burning your life. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Tell the audience where they can find you at, and the toy drive, what you're doing, which is super special. So
It's
be sure to tell
really
them that.
special. So I'm doing my first ever toy drive, and I'm trying to make it where it's very cultural, the way we grew up, super like Chicanos, and just because there's a lot of Chicanos kids in Maryville, in that community. So I'm going back to my high school. It got approved by the school district, where we don't have to be in the parking lot. We could be in the actual school, which is really neat because people get to walk in the hallways and where I grew up and where I walked. And there's photos of my brothers, because they were state champions for multiple years at a time at that school. So their photos are up. Jose's photos are up. 100% of the proceeds will be going to the Maryville community. I'm not taking anything from it. We're all having local vendors. People are registering their cars because it's going to be a car show as well. We have trophies. I'm gonna be there taking photos. Although it's not for me, I will be there. Like I'm trying to use my platform to drive people in. So I'm really excited. And that'll be December 2nd at Maryville High School from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
You heard her. Go check that out. Also, you want to share your Instagram? Social media? I
IG is Cortez MMA, and Facebook and Twitter is Tracy Cortez MMA.
You heard her. Go give her some love. And as a gift for coming on the podcast, Tracy, you will be getting the Black Label Edition Burn Factory hoodie, where only guests get these. No one else. Only guests get these.
I'm one of very few.
Yeah, very few.
Oh, thank
Very
you.
few people to get that. So.
Thank you. I don't get the belt.
No, you do.
I just
You get the belt. No, you get the belt.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. Yep.
Stop.
Yep.
You're
Are you serious right now?
Yeah.
I
You
swear on
guys
everything.
give belts too?
Yep.
Oh my God, that's so funny. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh wow, thank you.
Of course.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course, of
You
course.
get
I'm
both.
honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming on. Especially
Really,
with the
really
concussion.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
No, it's
I know the lights might have been a little.
no. I was
Little
actually
bright.
looking over here the whole time, so I
So it's
wasn't
fine?
I wasn't
Okay.
looking over there.
Cool. All right, that's going to do it from this episode of the Burn Factory podcast. Like always, like, comment, and subscribe at the Burn Factory podcast.
And always, please visit my foundation as well, the priestjamesfoundation.org. Again, the priestjamesfoundation.org to understand why this is called the Burn Factory.
We'll see you guys for the next episode. Peace.
All right, guys, we're here with Tracy Cortez, who just felt burned in her life. And she is now the Burn Factory podcast champion.
My story's been like the saddest. That's sad.
No.
Okay.
Most inspired.
Oh, thank you.
Think about all the people you're inspiring right now.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Did you have fun? You
I
enjoy
did.
It?
It was a great time.
Yes.
Glad
We
you
loved
came.
it.
Thank you guys for having me. It was an honor.
We out.